Hello hockey fans and welcome back to another video. Long time no see, eh folks? I hope you all had a very wonderful holiday season and a happy new year too, but now that January is well underway at this point, and considering for the last 3 or 4 weeks now I've been on a bit of a hiatus from this channel, I think it's time for me to jump back behind the microphone and start making some more hockey videos for you to enjoy, don't you think? I mean, I'm finally back in England from Montreal, I've got my old setup back, and some of you might have noticed that I've got a slightly better webcam than when I was gone, and during my time in Montreal. It doesn't look like I'm trying to record with a potato anymore. 2022's gonna be wonderful, don't you think? But I digress. Now that the year 2022 is well underway, we're almost 2 weeks into the new year at this point, I figured my first video for this new year, my very first video, should be something a little bit different on this channel. I thought, you know what, I'm gonna try something new, and I've decided to do that in the form of Odd Man Rants, a new potential series on this channel where I sit in front of this webcam and it's slightly more unedited, and I just pick a topic within the hockey world that really irritates me or really grinds my gears, and sit here and talk about why I hate it and how much I hate it. Maybe I'm becoming a bit more cynical in the new year. Maybe I'm just letting that cynicism out a little bit more. I don't know. I just want to talk about things that irritate me. Everybody else seems to do it and it works for them, so why not give it a try, you know? And the first topic that I wanted to pick was something that really infuriates me. It's something that boils me to my absolute core, and I think that many fans, both within North America and in Europe, both NHL fans from across the continent, across the world, will all feel this pain, and that is regional blackouts, ladies and gentlemen. I hate regional blackouts, and judging by the response from you guys on my latest polls on Twitter and YouTube, you guys seem to really hate them as well. So in this first and maybe last episode of Odd Man Rants, I'm going to take you through exactly why I hate regional blackouts. But first, a word from our sponsor. Before we begin, this video is sponsored by MyBookie. MyBookie is an online gaming platform complete with traditional sports betting and exclusive contests that give you the chance to put your sports knowledge to the test and make some dough while you're at it too. Whether it's hockey, football, basketball, or the UFC, by using the promo code ODDMAN at MyBookie, new customers who make their first deposit with my code will receive double the money to play with, all the way up to $1,000. For example, deposit $100, get $200 to play with. It's really that simple, folks. MyBookie also accepts a variety of payment options to give you the freedom you deserve with your money, and they even accept popular cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum, so you can bet and withdraw your winnings with crypto whenever you want. Head on over to MyBookie now and use the promo code ODDMAN to double your first deposit of up to $1,000 and put your sports knowledge to the test. That's promo code ODDMAN to double your first deposit of up to $1,000 only at MyBookie. MyBookie. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. Minimum deposit of $45. Please gamble responsibly. But anyway, back to the video. So I should probably begin by explaining what regional blackouts are, and I think the best way to do that is to create a scenario in which regional blackouts still affect all of us as hockey fans to this very day. And the way I'm going to do that, I'm going to pose a question to you, ladies and gentlemen, so let me ask you this. Has there ever been any point during an NHL regular season where you've sat there scrolling through the NHL app or looking wherever you get your sports news and everything, The Athletic, the NHL app, something like that, and you've noticed that your favourite team is playing that night, or there's a game, a really big game in the regular season, or a special event like the Winter Classic, the All-Star game, or the Stanley Cup playoffs are starting that night, and you think, oh, well, my favourite team's playing, this special game's happening, I want to watch that, that sounds brilliant. So later that night, when the game comes on, or either it's a matinee game during the afternoon, you decide to go back onto the NHL app, you log into the NHL app or whatever, the subscription that you've paid hundreds of dollars or several £100s in order to buy for the entire season to give you unlimited access on any and every NHL game, you know, all of that. You've bought that subscription at the beginning of the season, you think, right, I'm going to watch this game, I'm really looking forward to this. You click on watch the game and it says, this content is unavailable due to blackout restrictions. It will be available 48 hours after the game is finished or something like that. How annoying is that, ladies and gentlemen? It's annoying, isn't it? Now, me as a hockey fan from England, I hate it. There's several different examples of regional blackouts within the sports sphere, especially within the hockey sphere. It's either you're watching it from a certain place. For example, myself as a fan from Europe, there's lots of European hockey fans where there might be a TV station or a TV channel within their country that's bought exclusive rights to show a certain amount of NHL games, and if they show that game that you want to watch, they get sole priority over showing that game, and you can't see it on the NHL app. For example, a couple of days ago as I'm recording this, the Rangers were playing the Edmonton Oilers, I believe. I wanted to sit down and watch it on the NHL app, but the certain channel within the UK, who I'm going to leave nameless, because please don't sue me, they had exclusive rights to show that game. I don't want to pay another $15.99 a month in order to get their subscription if the only thing I'm watching is a couple of NHL games a week or even a month. I'm a New York Rangers fan, as many of you know. I will sit there and watch as any and every New York Rangers game as I possibly can. I try to watch all 82 every season. I want to watch all the New York Rangers games. I'm a big New York Rangers fan. I want to watch the Rangers. But then if this TV station or this TV channel or their app or something or their player or whatever, if they're showing the game, then the NHLTV app, I can't watch it on there. Well, that sucks. I've spent like £150, £200 for the entire season in order to be able to watch every single New York Rangers game, and now there's a certain amount of games that I can or can't watch because this other TV channel, which you have to pay £15.99 a month in order to subscribe to, is showing the game instead. But I've bought your product, NHL. I've bought NHL TV. Why can't I watch it on the product that I'm buying from you? Surely you want everybody to be on your platform, right? Because then you can push whatever ads you want. You can push whatever products you want. And I know that there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. There's a lot of paperwork. There's a lot of bureaucracy that goes into all this stuff. And I know that, channels really want to get rights to the big four sports, especially, football and American football, and the MLB and the NBA and stuff like that. I know the NHL's kind of the little brother out of all of them, but there's still companies, there's still TV channels around the world that want access to that because they know it will bring viewers in. The problem is, when you're charging that much amount of money because you also offer, Gaelic football and you also offer dirt car racing, me as a hockey fan, I don't care about that stuff. I just want to see the New York Rangers play the Edmonton Oilers. Is that too much to ask? Clearly it is, because I have to pay £15.99 in order to be able to go and watch it. And another example is like the Winter Classic and things like this. I'm sure that there are other TV channels within Europe and everything where they have this situation as well, where, I'm a UK fan, I'm in England, I want to watch the Winter Classic. I've bought NHL TV, I should be able to watch it. There shouldn't be any blackout restrictions. But because it's a big kind of event, it's a must-see game within the NHL calendar, this channel picks it up. So then I can't watch it. Or I have to pay £15.99, or I have to hope that there's a chance that, I can get a free deal on it, or, a free trial or something. But if I've already exhausted all of those free tries, I shouldn't have to jump through a million different hoops just to watch something that I've bought through a different product, through your product, NHL. Let's just take that aside for a moment. I've literally bought the thing that the NHL brand wants me to buy, NHLTV. I've bought the thing that they want, yet I can't watch the game that I want to see, their game that they own, on the product that I've bought from them. They've gone, you know what, we're going to give it to this other company because, they get X amount of NHL games per week or per month. Let's give it to them, that'll bring more viewers for them. No, it won't. It won't bring more viewers for them because we want to watch it on the product that we're spending hundreds of pounds a year to watch. What's so complicated about that? Now, this is a whole situation that's been going on for decades and decades as far as I'm aware. It's way before online streaming and, Wi-Fi streaming and everything like that, and kind of games being available outside of your cable provider or your TV provider were a thing. So, on the one hand, the ability to watch games like online and live streams and stuff, that's super important for international fans, because if it was due to cable and networks and stuff, us international fans wouldn't be able to watch. But at the same time, that presents another issue over across the pond in North America, where the teams are actually located. I've obviously talked a lot about the European situation, but considering I was in Montreal for 6 months this last year, from between June to December, once the NHL season began, on my NHL TV subscription, I couldn't watch a single Montreal Canadiens home game live at the Bell Centre on that NHL TV subscription, because all of the local Canadian sports networks like Sportsnet, TSN, RDS, which is obviously the French version, etc., they already own the rights to them. So I've bought this thing that's, $250 for the entire season, which in the grand scheme of things per game isn't too bad, but that's besides the point. We're not talking about that. I've bought this thing in order to watch predominantly Rangers games, but also, whatever hockey game that I want. I've bought the product. Surely I should be able to watch whatever game that I want. But because these big sports companies own a certain amount of games per year, or they have exclusive rights to show all Canadians games within Canada or within Montreal, I have to then subscribe to their feed as well, their platform. Surely the NHL would want us to subscribe to their one. Sure, the NHL has sponsorship deals or has certain broadcasting rights deals with all of these companies, but it's 2022, guys. Most people are watching stuff online. I would be very curious to know the percentages of people that are actually watching this stuff on cable. Maybe it's a generational thing. Maybe the older generations are still watching on cable because that's what they always did growing up and that's the thing they're most comfortable with. And the younger generation with live streaming and, the entire technology at your fingertips with your smartphones, they're watching it more live streamed. But it's such an outdated way to do things, at least in my opinion anyway. Back in the days where cable was the only option, then okay, I can understand it. There's certain cable providers that you get or certain companies with broadcasting rights. If you don't have that cable company or you don't have that kind of access to that thing, you're not going to be able to watch it. But now, if you're not allowing people to watch this thing because it's owned by a certain company, yet they've already bought this NHLTV subscription, that opens a completely different problem: pirating. Surely the NHL would have realised by this point, well, if a bunch of people have bought NHL TV and they can't watch the games because of this other subscription and these blackout restrictions, the chances are if they really want to watch the game, they're going to find a way. And the way they're going to do that is to watch it illegally. Now, I'm going to put it out there, I don't watch NHL games illegally. I have no problem with paying for the product because, the NHL and the entire hockey industry has given me this job, so I think it would be a bit hypocritical to not pay for games that I watch, especially because, if they didn't exist, this job wouldn't exist. But at the same time, I know what a bunch of you are thinking. Oddman Rush, why don't you just sail the 7 seas, me hearty? Arr, sail the 7 seas, Oddman Rush. But at the same time, I shouldn't have to, ladies and gentlemen. Why should I, who's paid £150, $250, something like that, I can't remember the exact number, why should I, who's paid that much money, have to go and find an illegal route in order to watch the game that I've paid for? Why should I have to go and find an illegal streaming site that, could give me no ends of viruses and Trojan viruses and really mess up my tech? Why should I have to go through that route? Why is the NHL pushing us towards that route unless we go and get Sportsnet or we go and get MSG or we go and get one of these big company things? I don't live in those places. Why would I go and get Sportsnet if I don't live in Canada? Because most of the stuff that they show on there, I'm not going to be able to see because it's probably geo-blocked the other way. See, we have the example where, you're watching it from the UK or from England. Oh, but this UK-based channel showing it, so you can't watch it on the NHL app because it's shown in the UK-based one. It's the same problem. Oh, all of this stuff is Canada only. You can't watch this here because you live in England, you live in the UK. So it works both ways. I just don't understand why the NHL, I'm sure the NHL aren't the only sports league that are still doing this, but because I'm obviously centered around hockey, it's the one that affects me the most and the one that annoys me the most. Why do we have to do that? And why do they feel like if we stand tall on this idea, then it will just mean they'll have to bend and they'll start subscribing to these things and helping generate more revenue? No, they'll just do it illegally. Everyone will just do it illegally. They'll just find the most logical option for them. Oh, I'm just not going to pay money for it then. I'm not going to pay for my NHL TV subscription. Because you're also falling into another trap that if people start to watch it illegally, they'll realise, oh, I can watch every single game of the season illegally. I can find a 1080p, 4K, 60 frames a second stream of the game, and I don't have to pay for the product. That's a big problem, NHL, especially Gary Bettman, who's been very focused on profits. He's a lawyer. He likes making money for the league because that makes the owners happy. So you would think that by making this situation, it's going to cause a lot of problems. And it means that they're going to lose on revenue and on profits and on TV revenue, which, if they just made all of the games available on the subscription that they mentioned, they'll get a lot more money. Now, obviously, there's going to be people that always pirate, obviously. And another argument you could make is, well, Oddman Rush, just go and get a VPN and say that you're in Canada or say that you're in somewhere completely different and just do that. Once again, I shouldn't have to, ladies and gentlemen. I shouldn't have to go and buy a VPN. I know a bunch of YouTubers advertise them, and maybe I'll get one of my own one day, you know? But I don't think me as a customer, that's the word I'm looking for, me as a customer shouldn't have to go and find an alternate company with a virtual private network to allow me to watch the product that I've already bought. And yes, I know in the fine print it says blackout restrictions may apply. But what I'm saying is they shouldn't apply, ladies and gentlemen. Blackout restrictions should not apply anymore. It's an old, outdated model that has no use within the sports atmosphere in today's world. It's 2022. Look at the advancements we've made in sports streaming. We're in 4K now, 60 frames a second, 120 frames a second. We're showing, you know, like you've got drones with cameras on going above the ice and looking at stuff. You've got these cameras that are on rails that are showing you all the different angles. You're getting all these interactive experiences. Yet this situation seems to be so stuck in the 1950s. Like, it feels decades and decades old. And the problem is, it doesn't seem like there's any option to... There doesn't seem to be any movement in the direction. Like, I looked at a couple of message boards just to kind of get the overall census of what people thought about blackouts, which are obviously mostly negative, of course. But I wanted to have a look at what people thought about them. Everybody, first of all, hates them. And second of all, the message boards I saw were from, like, 2012. Guys, that's a decade ago now. We're having the same conversations an entire decade later on the same problem that hasn't been fixed. You know? It's stupid. Regional blackouts are stupid. They suck. They're terrible. Why are they still a part of the sports atmosphere? Yes, I know that these companies and these broadcasting companies, they help generate revenue for the NHL, and they do a lot of sponsored stuff with the NHL, and, you know, their partnerships are really thick, you know, they're very much together. But the problem is, you're not actually helping the consumer. And let's be honest, as we saw with all of the shutdowns and the reductions in attendance and the return to play plan, these teams lose a heck of a lot of money if the fans aren't there to support them. And I'm not trying to make this into a, we should boycott NHLTV and we should stop watching their stuff and sail the seven seas party. No, I personally don't agree with illegally streaming stuff. If that's your thing, keep it to yourself or let other people that are interested know. It's none of my business. I don't care what you get up to. I'm not condoning it. Just do whatever you want. But at the same time, I don't think this is the smart idea for the NHL or any other sport in general. Like, take the Women's Hockey League. I know it's a much different situation, and I know that they don't necessarily have the sponsorship deals that the NHL that's been around for 100 years now, over 100 years now, has established, but the Women's Hockey League live streamed all their games on Twitch. That's an incredible way to grow the game. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, the NHL has to go and live stream all their games for free. I think they'd made some really good strides forward over the last few seasons with the European Game of the Week, for example, where a game, yes, it might suck for the North Americans, but they're trying to grow their brand internationally. Us European fans, we love matinee games, because at 12 p.m. North American time, for us in England, that's 5 p.m. That's the perfect time for a lot of people on a Saturday or a Sunday to sit down and watch a hockey game. And even kind of Scandinavia and kind of more Eastern Europe and everything. We're talking about, you know, 6, 7, 8 p.m. That's a perfect time. That's the time that you guys in North America, I'm not necessarily saying you North Americans like it's all your fault, but you know what I mean. North American fans, you guys usually sit down and watch it at 7, 8 p.m. And I think you'll agree for most of you, especially during the week, that's the perfect time to sit down and watch a hockey game. Like, a lot of North American fans complain that at 10 p.m, oh, that's a really late game. We're up till midnight. We're up till 3 o'clock in the morning. Some of the games don't even start till 3 o'clock in the morning if you're on the West Coast. That's obviously a discussion for another day. Maybe I'll do a rant about, you know, the puck drops of certain games and the West Coast games for us Europeans. I know it's kind of a European-only problem, but you know what I mean, right? I'm going off on a bunch of tangents here, but essentially all I want to say is regional blackouts, they suck, they are outdated. In the year 2022, in my opinion, they have no place within the game anymore. I understand that the league needs to create revenue from these big broadcasting companies, these big TV companies, but when you sit down and look at it, even members of the older generation are starting to stream games. They're watching them on consoles, they're watching it via their laptops or their phones or their tablets, because it's more convenient. Why would you not make your product more convenient? There's been big discussion about growing the NHL, ESPN, TNT, Hulu, Disney now on board, and all of this stuff. They're making some fair strides. The Winter Classic recently had the highest viewership of any hockey event on TNT, I think I read somewhere. That's great. But make that game accessible for the people that buy your product in the first place. before the season started, I bought my subscription because I knew that I was going to watch a heck of a lot of NHL games and New York Rangers games this season. But every single time there's a special event, or the playoffs turn up, or the Rangers play a certain game that a local broadcast has picked up instead, I can't then use your product. Now, instead, for me personally, and for a lot of Europeans, the games start at midnight, 3 a.m. We're not going to stay up to watch the game otherwise. You've just lost a viewer for that game that night in most cases. For example, the Rangers-Edmonton game that I brought up earlier, I just went, okay, I guess I'm not going to watch it then. I'm not going to go pay £15 to go watch the stream, which they have their own issues. They're not exactly cutting edge technology, a lot of them. There's a lot of issues technologically with some of these smaller channels and smaller broadcasts picking up these games and not doing a good enough job of showing them, in my opinion, whether it be their fault or not. But at the same time, I've bought your subscription, NHL. I've bought NHLTV. Let me watch your damn games, boys. But anyway, on that note, I think I'm going to end this very long-winded video. I probably repeated myself a million different times, but I hope I got my point across there. I do understand the NHL's need to make money and keep good relationships with these broadcasting partners, but in the year 2022, and with the fact that there's an NHL TV subscription, and you want to keep people on your product, watching your product, because they're more likely to go and check another game after their game's over if they're on the NHL TV app or on the website, and they can just seamlessly click to the next one as opposed to turning off cable and going and find another way to stream it. That's my opinion. You might agree or disagree. I know many of you might be pro illegal streams or sailing the seven seas, and I can understand the appeal there. It's personally not for me, as I've mentioned several times in this video. But yeah, on that note, I think I'm going to end this. What do you guys think about regional blackouts? Hopefully I explained them well enough to you. I'm obviously not an expert at this stuff, but what do you guys think about this type of video as well? Do you like this whole odd man rants thing? I've got a couple of other topics that really do irritate me within the hockey world that I'd be interested to talk about if you guys like this. Also, what do you think about the new setup, the new webcam? Does it look good? Do you like it? I hope so, because I spent a lot of money on it on Black Friday, so you better be worth it, you know? But yeah. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you have enjoyed. Please feel free to like, subscribe, share, or watch some of my other videos. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye. A big thank you to Drew Fawcett, Houston NG, and Worthless Pieces for helping support this video via Patreon. If you too want to help support the channel a little bit further, and get a shout out at the end of every future video, make sure you head over to patreon.com/oddmanrush and become a patron today.